Okay, so let's try a dihybrid cross. So a dihybrid cross is going to be one that's dealing with two characters, and of course each of those two characters will have two alleles associated with them, or traits. So let's look at humans, a couple conditions in humans. So humans can have what's called free earlobes or attached earlobes. So free earlobes, your lobe is not really all the way attached to your, I guess, the side of your neck, right? And the attached earlobes, really, you don't have anything hanging there. It's more like it's attached to the side of your neck. So free earlobes is dominant to attached earlobes. And now we're going to look at another whole thing separate. Okay, there is a condition called hypercholesterolemia. So hypercholesterolemia is going to cause your blood cholesterol levels to be more elevated than normal, and this, of course, is going to give you a greater risk for a heart attack. Well, the dominant allele is those. It's actually dominant, so it's a dominant condition. So if you have the dominant allele, that means you have the potential to have hypercholesterolemia. And the normal condition is recessive. All right, so now we have a cross, right? So we've got two individuals here. Okay, and the question is, what gametes can be produced by the following parents, and what are the expected phenotypic and genotypic ratios for the offspring produced by this cross? So if we look at this cross, let's just kind of look at it first, and this is kind of what you want to do every single time. Just take a look and see what's going on. So here we have two different traits, okay, or characters, right? So one of them is going to be, earlobe condition, and then the other one is going to be, this disease condition. Now, the earlobes is represented by the E, and the hypercholesterolemia is going to be represented by the H. So if we just look at the individual characters alone for each of the individuals, we have an individual that is homozygous dominant, and the other individual is homozygous recessive. Those are opposite genotypes and, of course, phenotypes. Remember that, true breeding? And remember, when you cross the opposite ones, they're always going to be heterozygotes. All right, so same thing with the hypercholesterolemia. We have an individual that is homozygous recessive, and the other individual is homozygous dominant. So if you look at them individually, you can see that basically for both of the characters, the offspring are all going to be heterozygotes, basically. All right, so let's go ahead and do the FOIL just to prove it. Okay, so at this point you should stop and know that the offspring are all going to be, let me go ahead and erase that. All right, so the offspring are going to all be this. Okay, so let's go ahead and test that. Okay, so if we do FOIL, okay, so I like to put the parentheses around to just get oriented nicely. So the first are going to be this, and then the outer, and then the inner, and then the last. Okay, so look, it's the same. Now for this individual, now we're crossing this. What are the gametes here? We have the first, which is going to be this, and then the outer, which is going to be this, and then the inner, which is going to be this, and then the last, of course, is going to be the same thing. So again, they're all the same. Okay, so these are the potential gametes. So when you combine them together, you're going to end up with, so this is, there's only one choice here, so all the gametes in this individual are going to be this, and all the gametes in this individual are going to be this. So when you combine them, you get, okay, I like to put the letters that represent each of the traits together, and this really equals that. Okay, so going back to the question, which is what you always want to do. Look, you've got an answer, but what do you, you've got some information, but what are you going to do with that information? So here, the expected phenotypic ratio. So what's a phenotype going to be here? Okay, so of course, all of them, okay, so that ratio is going to be 1. Basically, 100% are going to be, okay, so look, they're going to have free earlobes, and they're going to have hypercholesterolemia. Okay, so that's the phenotype. And of course, 100% or 1 are going to be heterozygous in terms of genotype for both of the characters. So this is phenotype, and this is genotype. All right. So that one was relatively easy. So again, you can save yourself a whole lot of time and not do this by just looking at the cross a little bit more in detail before you really get started. Now, if you're not sure, always do the Punnett square.